Yeah, buddy, it's time for Smash 6 Commentary Slot Power Hour, or like Power 15 minutes. I actually don't even know how long this video ended up being, so... Smash Ultimate's marketing cycle, teasing new characters from pretty much every single IP imaginable, was hands down one of the most hype moments in gaming for a lot of people. It was truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience, getting to see crossovers from games that I don't think the previous generation could have ever possibly imagined. I made a Smash 6 video about a month ago that talked more about how the development of a new title could be problematic just for the simple reason of trying to top this Herculean achievement. I didn't really go into the specifics about how, like, relicensing a character like Sora, for instance, could be a huge roadblock, but I imagine at this point, if you get the call from Daddy Sakurai, you're probably picking up the phone. That said, the question for Smash 6 eventually became, how do I make this thing into Everybody Is Here and Knuckles? Because everybody has a Smash 6 wishlist. Every YouTuber on this planet has probably done a video on this, so it's probably time for me to cash in on it too. But your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, Lil Jon, and Pitbull, they all have a list. Basically, everybody is here and everybody has a list, and I also have a list. Not that one. No. So today, I'm gonna go through some of the internet's most requested, in-demand characters for a new Smash title, and tell you about some of my juicy, maybe controversial character picks. Like, another Mario character. Nice. Yeah, that's good. I like that. Thank you to Red Magic, who is paid to be mentioned in today's video. So Red Magic has been around since 2018 with a collection of gaming gear from smartphones and PCs to peripherals and accessories. They just sent me their Astra 2 gaming tablet, their newest flagship product for 2026, and I honestly really like it. I don't think I've ever really been like a tablet screenager type kid, but the Astra 2 genuinely impressed me. It has a 9-inch OLED 185Hz display, which feels like a comfy middle-of-the-road size that isn't an overly cumbersome device to pack for a quick weekend trip, which I happen to do a lot. And this baby runs a Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 processor plus options for 12 or 16 gigabytes of RAM, which in this economy, that ain't bad. Its next level cooling system maintains high performance as well and lets me run for long sessions when I'm grinding to Mythic on MTG Arena. Speaking of long sessions, it even has a bigger 8300 milliamp hours battery, and with dual Type-C ports that support 75 watt fast charging and a two-way reverse charging, my devices are almost always topped off. So if you're in the market for a new gaming tablet, I really think you should give the Astra 2 a shot. Early bird offers begin around mid-August, and you can use my link in the description to get a discount. That'll also help me out a bit too if you end up ordering anything, so thanks in advance for that. Thanks again to Red Magic for supporting the channel, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. So I actually found a 2022 mega poll from Source Gaming, which I'm gonna use as like my single source of truth in determining the quote-unquote internet sentiment. Yes, it's from 2022, but it's really comprehensive and it's just so thorough that I really could not ignore it. Also, I don't really think too much has changed in the last 4 years to warrant a discussion about who the community generally wants to see in a new Smash title. Also, I don't really feel like doing that much more research for this, so you get what you get. That's not to say I didn't look at other sources, but the data here was just so compelling that it felt right to work off of this as my baseline so I could share what the internet thinks. Is it perfect? No, of course not, but I'm willing to treat it as one of the closest things we have to an objective community sentiment. Huge shoutouts to Source Gaming for putting all of this together, by the way. I found out they have a YouTube channel as well when I was doing research for this, and it's very, very comprehensive. They have a lot of really cool videos over there, so check it out. There were 592 characters nominated in this poll, which is absolutely nuts, but let's do this. All right, starting from the top, we have Doomslayer or Doom Guy at number 10. He received 258 points in the Source Gaming poll, and he's actually available as a premium Mii Gunner costume, so there's maybe a bit of precedent already established here. Doom in Smash would honestly be kind of unhinged. Imagine the absolute carnage of chainsawing a poor Kirby in half. I mean, how would Kirby even copy Doom Guy? Do you give him the Crucible or a super shotgun? Super Shotgun Bros Doom? But the amount of like aesthetic dissonance alone is probably worth the slot in my opinion. Mechanically, I feel like he'd be a pretty heavy zoner whose kit flips between melee combat and projectile spam, but kind of unique from Snake. The BFG 9000 sounds freaking sick as a final smash, and Glory Kills as a mechanic could be a fun way to expand on something like grabs, almost like what Ultimate did with Kazuya. Also, regarding licensing, the Doom games are owned by Microsoft now, which actually matters here. Microsoft already let Banjo into the game, so the door seems to be kind of open enough, I guess. Remember the Microsoft thing though, because that's gonna come back up in a minute. Ultimately though, Doom Guy is basically the Unk of FPSs, and Doom itself is just like such an important part of gaming history that I feel feel like it definitely makes sense to include him. This sexy motherfucker from Devil May Cry just barely beat out Doomslayer with 259 points on the poll, and where Doomguy in Smash rules because it's funny, Dante in Smash rules because it's Riz, I guess? Once again, we have a Mii costume for him on Sword Fighter this time, so we're already starting to see a bit of a pattern of these not really being speculative characters, but maybe ones Nintendo has considered, shipped in a form, but never fully committed to. Devil May Cry as a game is just pretty cool, and we've already seen how that type of character can function in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Dante's whole thing would involve style switching, so Trickster for movement, Swordmaster for melee, Gunslinger for projectiles, Royal Guard for defense, Quicksilver for like time control or special moves, and Doppelganger for some weird puppet character type shenanigans. Smash is no stranger to stance characters, but the closest one I can think of here would be like Shulk, which is mostly stat buffs and property changes to his moves, while this would be like a full-on design kit based on which Dante style you're playing. I guess Bayonetta also kind of covers some of the same design space, but Dante would add the sword plus gun plus style switching kit that Bayonetta just doesn't have. The challenge here is you're functionally designing like 6 characters in the spot of 1, but whatever, he's hot, who cares? At 307 points, Isaac from Golden Sun is who I think is just the cult fandom dream pick at this point. Golden Sun fans were campaigning for this character to be in like Melee, so it's been a long time coming. And what's worse is they got so freaking close. Isaac was actually in development to be a playable fighter for Project M, but ended up getting cut when the dev team got boomed in 2015. He's playable in Super Smash Flash 2, but in terms of official series titles, he's made it into the game as an assist trophy in Brawl. So close. I think his moveset has a ton of potential to be really cool beyond the 5 million sorties that Smash has. The Synergy and Jins for normals and specials are super fun, plus at this point you kind of have to pay off the fans for that level of dedication. Speaking of dedication and fandoms incessantly asking for a character, this one is probably the biggest fish of them all. At number 7, with 345 points, is Geno, the character every Smash fan has been talking about since also Melee. And by every Smash fan, I mean me. I want Geno in the f***ing game. Come on. Some bonus context here, but Geno is technically owned by Square Enix, which I guess would make him the first third-party character in Smash history to come from a first-party universe. Squaresoft created him for Super Mario RPG in 1996, even though it's a Mario property, and that kind of like licensing complexity is probably a part of why he hasn't been added as a full fighter. I guess Nintendo would need Square Enix's sign-off, and Square Enix has been busy with Sora and Cloud and Sephiroth as their own characters in Smash. You can call me old or whatever, but I think Super Mario RPG is awesome, and when you get to my picks, you can definitely call me old. I think this character has a ton of personality potential, but he also runs into the obvious there are too many Mario characters problem. He was also added as a Mii costume in Smash 4 and Ultimate, so it's clear there's like some amount of acknowledgement happening here. Maybe it's like taunting. I don't know why they keep doing this to us. Please just put Geno in the game. With 352 points, Master Chief is the dream pick for Western audiences. Halo has never been on a Nintendo console, which is the first logistical hurdle here, but, and this is why I said to remember the Microsoft mention, did you remember the Microsoft mention? Master Chief and the Halo franchise is owned by Microsoft. And Microsoft also owns the Banjo-Kazooie franchise after buying Rare in 2002, so there's a through line. I'd argue the Chief is like one of the closest things Xbox has to a Mario, and that cultural moment of Master Chief showing up in Smash would just like blow up the internet. Like, honestly, imagine like an intro cinematic with Nintendo characters, and then it's like, whoa, and dude, and then the insane guitar riff comes in. Oh my god, dude, holy chills. Okay, yeah, mechanically his kit is right there too, though. The energy sword and grab hammer as melee options, literally any gun for ranged attacks, things like armor lock or the bubble shield for defense. He's a gun character in a game that may begin to have too many gun characters, but that spectacle alone is just like, it's too epic. Like, you have to do it. Some of the most formative moments in my teenage years were built around like talking random people on Xbox Live and Halo 3 back when Discord wasn't a thing, by the way, so if you wanted to play with your friends, you actually had to like coordinate a time to get online. The custom game modes were super fun too. If you put Oddball or like a side-scrolling big team battle on Smash, that would just be absolutely insane. But if we can capture just like some of that magic in my favorite game series of all time, which is Smash, I would be a pretty happy camper. Number 5 is Rayman with 441 points, a pretty significant jump from the Chief, and this one feels a little bit more straightforward. Ubisoft has literally publicly said on record that they want him in the game, so case closed, I guess. Rayman was a spirit in Ultimate, and he's gotten a DLC appearance in Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope in 2023, which is also kind of wild because that's a full Nintendo platform appearance without the Smash commitment. development, and Rayman is already a playable fighter in games like Brawlhalla and Super Smash Flash 2, so there's some bones to his, I guess, boneless character design, which I find pretty unique for a fighting game. You'd be animating like disembodied fists and feet that float around the character, which I guess mechanically could open up disjoints that no other character really has. I'm talking about literal blind spots between Rayman's body and limbs where you can miss attacks or miss being attacked, which is kind of cool strategically. Also, literally the day before I recorded this, Rayman announced a brand new game launching this October, so yeah, I think he's a popular pick. All right, I don't even have to make the case here because, like, you just know the case. At 459 points, how is Waluigi gonna get out the hood? We're gonna put him in freaking Smash, that's how. Within 24 hours of the E3 2018 reveal, the "Everyone is Here" tagline was being thrown right back at Nintendo. There's a super viral tweet of a Waluigi doll on the ground with "Everyone is Here" overlaid that got like 90,000 likes in a day. The Washington Post even ran an opinion piece, and Reggie Fils-Aimé himself had to publicly acknowledge him. The actual reveal trailer? Yeah, we got Waluigi, but as an assist trophy getting KO'd. Nintendo literally used him as the demo for the new assist trophies can be killed mechanic, which, you know, if that was intentional, that's a level of trolling that's like almost impressive. I think for Waluigi, the question people seem to be asking now is, would Waluigi actually be an interesting character to play? And honestly, I think there's some moveset potential there that's better than people give it credit for. He's kind of established an identity as the Mario sports guy, so I think it could be a fun, gimmicky kind of thing there. It's been 15 years, though, of Waluigi for Smash memes. One of my most viral tweets was about Waluigi not being in Smash, and I think it's time to just let the poor guy into the game. Come on. All right, we're in our top 3 from the poll now, and at 467 points, we have Phoenix Wright. Like Dante, he was also in MVC3, and he was like pretty insane. I don't think he was like a good character, but I had a lot of fun watching him function because his entire kit revolved around like gathering evidence during the match and triggering turnabout mode, which made him like really, really good for a little bit. Objection speech bubbles crowding the screen would be sick. You could have a similar evidence collection mechanic or meter. I never really played Phoenix Wright games, but I do think the character has a lot of personality, and it would be a pretty fun and unique spin on an archetype we've probably never seen in Plat Fighters, which is a lawyer. By the way, a lawyer in Smash is like extremely funny to me, given Nintendo's propensity to C&D everyone on Earth who doesn't co-sign with how they want their games to be played. So this would actually, like, I'm on board with this one now. This would be like genuinely a good fun addition to the game. At number 2 with 475 points is Bandana Waddle Dee. Like Waluigi, this one has also been a long time coming. Kirby, Meta Knight, and King Dedede are all already in Smash, so Bandana Dee felt like the obvious candidate for the next slot, but one with a little less oomph, I guess. He was promoted from generic enemy to 4th playable hero in Kirby Star Allies, and the 2023 Return to Dreamland Deluxe remake reconfirmed him as main cast. Plus, my friend Mockrock just pointed out in his Smash 6 video, Sakurai kind of vaguely confirmed in the Kirby Air Riders trailer that he's officially part of the band with Kirby, Triple D, and Meta Knight. Hell, Bandana Waddle Dee even has a freaking amiibo and was launched alongside Kirby's amiibo, so I would say he's like unofficially officially Kirby's number 2. I think all of this is Nintendo more or less confirming he'd be a lock. The moveset feels super fleshed out already, there's almost no reimagining that needs to be done, and licensing is a complete non-issue here. Also, funnily enough, literally no character in Smash uses a spear as a primary weapon aside from like Byleth a little bit, so that perhaps gives the suggestion of even more staying power. If you're betting on one first-party newcomer with a serious chance of actually getting in, I would say this is probably the safest bet on the entire roster. And number 1 with a whopping 556 points is PlayStation's very own Crash Bandicoot. So this one has to be a layup, right? Crash is already a character in the platformer genre, so his moveset kind of lends itself well to the platform fighter genre. Insanely enough, Crash didn't even make it into PlayStation's attempt at the Smash-like PlayStation All-Stars, so there's absolutely huge potential for this one here. He's available in Smash Remix and has been a pretty popular pick for community-made mods, so I think this one would be a huge cultural crossover for older audiences. This is the widely considered original unofficial mascot of PlayStation, the face of the PS1 era in the 1990s, appearing in a Smash title almost 30 years later. His moves have a ton of personality, the iconic spin attack, the Wumpa Fruit, Aku Aku mask, any mechanics with crates, you get it. We once again return to the Microsoft dilemma, as the only question here is whether Microsoft, who owns Activision, who owns Crash, stay with me now, and Nintendo can agree on terms. If you've been keeping track, that is the third Microsoft argument in this top 10, which means it's either easier than ever because Microsoft already put Banjo in the game and seems open to playing ball, or it's a corporate nightmare. I don't know if there's anywhere in between. Banjo and Rare were doing a lot of heavy lifting for us on those 3 entries, but Crash makes sense and kind of always has made sense. So that was Source Gaming's top 10 according to their mega poll, but there were a couple of interesting outliers I wanted to point out before I give you a couple of my personal picks that weren't mentioned here. First off, there was not a single Sonic fighter in the top 10, and the highest scoring one according to this poll was actually Eggman at number 11 with 255 points. Eggman outscored Shadow at number 17, Tails at number 19, and Knuckles at number 58. Also, what the hell is this Big the Cat blasphemy? Rank 316? Are we for real? Come on, dude. He's got a fishing rod. Like, that's awesome. I don't know. Eggman is an interesting one to me though, because he's like mechanically and narratively unique as an addition to go alongside Sonic, who's already in the game. Low-key, Shadow makes the most sense as a standalone character or foil to Sonic. Knuckles you probably can't really add alone without adding Tails. And in fairness, there aren't a ton of like true villains represented in this game, so I think this is a good opportunity for the Sonic franchise to maybe see some more representation, and I wouldn't be all that mad if we got more than one character. Dixie Kong made it at number 13 with 199 points. This is a character who's been requested since like 2005, someone who was literally planned to be in Brawl and was cut due to technical issues, which if you didn't know this, fun fact, she was originally going to be implemented as a tag team duo with Diddy Kong, basically a direct reference to their gameplay mechanics in Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy Kong's Quest. This one was a particular surprise to me, but the first Pokemon representative comes in at number 59 in Grovyle. I don't really think there's that much to say here. With a new gen Pokemon coming out soon, I figure they get another starter or a fan favorite into the roster as pretty much a lock-in, so yeah. And I guess what I would say is probably one of the more egregious things about this roster discussion is the Zelda series has just gotten completely and utterly hoed, dude. There's like no good candidates to add. The series headliners are in a desperate need of reworks in my opinion, but I think a character like Impa, Midna, or Skull Kid could have some sauce, I guess, while calling back to the specific entries in the series. And maybe you just have a better way of like distinguishing the 3 different Link characters we already have in the game. I don't know, just put Tingle in the game at this point. I don't care. Last one, because this is just funny, and I recently unironically put this in a thumbnail of a video that may or may not be out by the time this video releases, but Rocket League Car got enough votes to be put in the top half of the poll, so ka-chow. Okay, so that's what the quote-unquote internet wants, but now here's a couple picks that I want that haven't been mentioned in this list. Bomberman is number 24 on the Source Gaming poll, and it's a series I've really grown to love over the years. I still find myself coming back to play Bomberman Generation on the GameCube every so often. The battle modes are absolute fire, and the Carabombs were this like really fun Pokemon style side game that I think could have actually stood on its own with a bit more fleshing out. I would say this is another old guy pick like Gino, but I think it could land a little bit more smoothly than say Mr. Game & Watch or Rob. The original Bomberman released in 1983, which would make him a 40-year-old gaming icon who's never really had a moment in Smash ever, aside from maybe like assist trophies and whatnot. And I think the bomb-centric moveset makes for a super charming and fun trap character design. Okay, listen, if you've made it this far, I'm assuming one more Mario character can't hurt. Paper Mario is one of my favorite game franchises of all time, and I think as a Smash character, he just fits way too damn well to not include. He is arguably one of the most mechanically interesting potential newcomers in this entire conversation, just hands down. He is like completely cash rich with move options. The partner system is such an insanely awesome mechanic to build a fighting game character around. He already has great options for normals and recoveries between his hammer, spin, and paper modes, and you could even implement the badge system too. Star power as another angle for specials, or a final smash is there, and this isn't even mentioning mechanics from like Super Paper Mario, Sticker Star, Color Splash, or Origami King. Like legit, if you only pulled from the original 64 version and Thousand Year Door, I think you truly have one of the most colorful, mechanically dense character designs in Smash. The shift to focus on NPCs like your partners also allows for just so much range in character appearances without necessarily like wasting the roster slot. The poll had Paper Mario at number 18, maybe because they're thinking about him as that other Mario that gets added. And what I said in the intro wasn't exactly wrong either. He is another Mario character, but I really do believe he would be one of the best newcomer options Smash 6 could ask for, and it is just not particularly close for me. So if you spent this long listening to me talk about why I think Cow from Mario Kart World would be an excellent addition to Smash 6, first off, I'm spitting. Second, thanks. And third, maybe consider subscribing if you haven't yet, but here's the closer. I think the top 10 from Source Gaming is a genuinely great list. If a Smash 6 actually happens and launches with even a couple of characters from that group, it would probably be one of the most hyped Smash launches ever. But if Smash 6 only gives us new characters, like a few new faces and nothing else, it's not actually a Smash 6, it's more of an Ultimate Fighters Pass 3. Smash Ultimate's tagline was "Everyone is here," and that was true 8 years ago. For Smash 6 to really be the titan of the industry it's always been, it needs to have everyone is here and they're unique. Fewer clones, more unique identities, and new characters that actually expand what it means to be in Smash. That's the Smash 6 worth asking for, and it's the one I'm hoping we get. Thanks for watching. Ooh, it's a roster. Yeah, more Mario characters. Hey, thanks again to Red Magic for supporting the channel and today's video. Make sure you check out the Astra 2 at the link in my description and get yourself a discount if you're in the market for a new tablet. Big thanks to my top tier patrons and YouTube members. You can check those links out if you feel like supporting the channel and you, more importantly, have the disposable income to do so. Thank you to Abishua Stein, Bobby Wasabi, Brent Mukai, Carter Roberts, Kaiden, Dark Genix, Eric is Cool, Gustavo Cantu Fernandez, James Fadman, Justin Duncan Mills, Kyle Carlin, Marshall Bradley, Michael Talamo, Prakar Sinha, Rosewood, and Sam Wright. Okay, that's it. Bye.